Hey, what's up? Thanks for tuning into another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is March 23rd, and this episode is brought to you by my fantastic motorcycle sponsor, El Cajon Harley-Davidson. Located in the San Diego, Southern California area, do not buy a motorcycle from anybody else. Go to El Cajon Harley. They've been sponsoring the podcast for almost a year. It's March right now, and they have a few more days left of the March Madness on the boots. You want to get some boots, go in there. They got $25 off right now. They also have incredible tire prices. They will not be beat on their tire prices. And they have all the new Milwaukee 8s on the floor. I was just there last Saturday, and the shop blows my mind every time I'm there. The selection they have there. The service department is fantastic. They just serviced my bike. Put on some heated grips. Everyone there's cool. They all love motorcycles and comedy. They're not one of those burnout shops like, oh, I don't like it here. Everybody there loves motorcycles. You'll love them too. Go see Greg Riley and my guys down there and get yourself a Harley-Davidson. They can get you financed. And also, they got a awesome selection of motor clothes, used bikes, everything in there. One-stop motorcycle shop. Go to El Cajon Harley. Also, some shout-outs right now. Donations to the podcast. Thank you, Rich Williams. Awesome. And my boy, Pat the Plumber, who I saw last night at the San Jose Improv. If you guys are at the San Jose Improv, thank you for coming out. Pat the Plumber was in the house. And I guess that's it for the announcements. It is Thursday. And it's the 23rd, and today is Baselworld 2017, which means this is going to be a full fucking watch episode nerd extravaganza. And don't turn it off if you're not into watches, because this shit is just like all my handmade episodes. It's some cool shit. And when I talk watches, I have nobody else to talk to them about more than Kevin Christy. How are you?
You nailed that ad. No script.
No script, yeah.
I'm sitting right next to you. No script at all.
Yeah, I got no script, man.
Yeah, no script.
Yeah, I don't like the script ones. And you know what? The people that, when you do the ads, they go, you know what? Your thing's better than what corporate could come up with. You know what I mean? Because it's real.
Yeah.
They're going to come up with, like, here's how theirs would be. A typical ad. It would be, Harley-Davidson, have you ever dreamed of riding your own personal custom machine? Do you want women to look at you? Are you tired of not getting any attention in life? Put a Harley-Davidson between your thighs.
Are you sick of getting sand kicked in your face at the beach?
Yeah. Were you a nerd all your life looking at watches online and got your ass beat?
Are you a retired cop?
Yeah.
There's always like one phrase in an ad that is not a phrase anyone would use ever, like box to front door. You're like, what? No one says that.
Yeah, box to front door. Or how about this one? Be there. Be there. I love that one. Be there. It doesn't matter what it is. Monster trucks.
Yeah, no one
couch
says,
sale. Be there.
No one says be there in normal life.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like that bit I'm doing right now. This guy learned Spanish on cassette. And it was like, toco se el estomaco. Touch my stomach. I said, I never said that in English. Touch my stomach.
That's like in junior high, I took Spanish, and one of the first things you learn is así, which means so.
Yeah.
But it's apparently like the corniest phrase ever. No one uses it.
Yeah.
Like if you say that, people are like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like
Yeah.
it's like it's such an old-timey dumb phrase. It's like saying, like, what a shame in Spanish is que lástima. But it's like so silly and corny. If you say it, that people will just laugh at you.
Isn't it funny, like, you learn these things, and it's really the first ones you really learn from the class is all that really sticks.
Yeah.
Like, and then, of course, all the dumb swearing ones,
Yeah.
like, besa my culo, and all that dumb shit.
I got a D in Spanish
A D?
twice.
You don't look like a D guy at all.
Oh,
you look like straight A's.
No, I got really shitty. I graduated high school with a 1.7 grade point average.
No shit?
Yeah, I didn't get good grades until I went to art school.
Like, were you, like, shitty, or you just didn't care about it?
I didn't care.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I knew I was going to go to art school, and I knew I was going to go to junior college first, so my grades didn't matter. So I just fucked off.
Yeah. I hated school.
I was dumb.
All I went for was to hang with my buddies and talk music. So I've just been doing the same shit all my life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I realized it's at some point, because I didn't have to take the SATs to go to art school either. So I was just like, what? Nothing. They couldn't. There was nothing in high school they could tell me mattered to me.
Yeah, like
So
my
I
teachers just gave up.
Yeah, I just sat and my teachers gave up too. They realized I was just going to sit and draw, and they just left me alone, kind of. And like the cool ones gave me D's.
Yeah,
like if
that's what they did to me. They just C's and this. Like, I never did any homework or anything. And they're like, "How'd you graduate? How get like each grade?" I didn't graduate, but they're like, "How did you?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're like, "How did you get past each grade?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Well, every teacher I had took at least at some point took advantage of me and made me draw them something.
Oh yeah,
and that's how I scored D's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Used you.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it was like a give and take.
Yeah, it was a wink. Like
it was like, yeah, I'll do this thing for whatever because every teacher was like in charge of some sort of club. They needed a logo or a T-shirt, and so I would do that, and then I just cut me a D or a C.
That's awesome.
And that's how I graduated, basically.
And what's funny is like that old saying. Like I've said it before, but my mom was like, I got the tattoo. Like, you're never going to have a real job. You remember that thing? Like, you need the diploma to get a job.
Yeah.
Not once have I ever been asked for a diploma.
I could say I went to Harvard.
Yeah.
And no one would check.
Oh, there's some people that do that. I was reading there. They just say they went to college. No one checks.
Yeah. Unless the problem with saying Harvard is everyone who goes there knows each other. They go, what year? And then they all ask around. But you can just lie.
You could say Sonoma State.
Yeah. No one's ever asked me for my college diploma. And to be fair, my college diploma is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen.
From an art school? That's hilarious.
I was so legitimately disappointed in it. It looks like an inter-office fax. It's the ugliest thing. One of the best design schools in the country has the ugliest diploma you've ever seen. I didn't even... I looked at it once. I was like, ugh. And I didn't even frame it. I just put it in a drawer.
Wow.
I don't know where it is now.
How you been, man? You're on TV right now, right? 24. Legacy?
No, I'm dead. They killed me.
Oh, they killed you.
I deserve to die, but I am definitely dead.
But you that was cool. You're off Masters of Sex. All of a sudden, you landed that show. You're out in Atlanta or whatever shooting. Where was that? Atlanta.
We shot in Atlanta. Yeah.
I remember you were just gone for a little bit.
Yep. But now I'm dead, so I'm out here just fucking slumming it.
Yeah, you're out doing shows with me, man, which is great. We're gonna do Denver in the end of April. We're doing Ontario Improv.
Yeah.
You want to do San Jose Improv with me, April 19th?
I don't think I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a one-nighter.
Oh yeah, no.
I was just there 3 days.
I love that. That's the nicest looking improv.
It's great
because it's an old theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's amazing is I was just there with Burr. I just flew in this morning, fucking 6 a.m.
Yeah, you look like shit.
I'm so torqued right now. Here, you know what the worst is? I'm on the flight, and I sit down. It's a half-empty flight. I go, this is great.
Yeah.
Some guy sits in front of me. This and I'm such a pussy when it comes to this, but I'm probably smoked 9 cigarettes before he got on the plane.
Yeah, one of those people, they fiend. They just pile it right before they get on.
He's right in front of me, and he's got his air thing going, and it's parlaying his cigarette smell right onto me. And what's amazing is, like, I think the smell of after cigarettes smells worse than the cigarette.
Oh, 100%.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not making this up, but it actually feels like there's molecules floating around you of whatever is on him, because they said there's like a third hand smoke, which is the shit on the people's clothes and stuff, like babies. If they smoke outside and they come in, they get their baby. There's just shit on them.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my seat trying to sleep, and I'm like, fuck, man, that is brutal.
You feel bad because the person's clearly like addicted, but you're like, come on, man, you're on a plane.
Yeah.
We're on a plane.
Yeah,
there's just a different... It's bad enough.
Yeah.
It's 6 a.m. Fuck, man.
6 a.m. I've got 2 hours of sleep.
Like, nobody talk. Everyone be quiet. Just shh.
Zero talking.
This is a bad situation. Everyone be cool.
Yeah.
We're hostages.
Yeah. It was amazing. And you know, I'm not a complainer. But it's just like that kind of thing, or you know, just the fucking loud talker. Yeah, Bill. Yeah, so I got the files. I'm on the plane now, and I'll be in Burbank in about an hour. So when we touch down, I'll text you. And you're just like, shut the fuck up.
I was in the market the other day, and a guy was shopping, and he was he had his phone on speakerphone.
Oh, unbelievable.
In the market.
Yeah.
Look, I get the like, hey, I don't want to touch my phone to my ear. I'll get a tumor. Get an earpiece, dude.
Yep.
It's not hard. I just was like, how are you, like, where did you see this be okay?
Yeah.
And you know, my first inclination is I want to like stab you to death.
Yeah.
And watch you die in this market.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, am I an asshole? Is this wrong that I feel this rage towards you for this? Like, we're all just trying. Life has gotten so out of control and so like diminishing, and we're all just. My favorite phrase about life is most of it's just quiet desperation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm just trying to buy nectarines, man, and you're trying to buy whatever you're trying to buy. Like, I'm not trying to fuck with your life. Please, like, you're fucking with 9 people's lives right now because your phone's on speakerphone. It's just disproportionate.
Yeah.
It's like
it's weird. I try to get into the hippie mode, you know. Like
there's a force field around all of us, like a 10-foot radius force field of which people come in and out of. It's when you're in line. It's not like you don't get in line and start like dancing and like freaking people's butts and stuff. No, because you're close to each other. It's like
freaking butts.
Yeah, I remember a lady. I was in line once, and a lady behind me. Someone got too close to her, and she was like, "You need to back up." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. He does. He's too close to you." And we all like we're ants, and we're in a giant anthill, especially in a city. And it's like everyone be cool.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. It's incredible. If I can do it, everyone can do it. I'm not a genius. I'm not even that smart. So if I can figure it out, please, everyone just fucking get it together.
I don't know when I got like that. You know, it's like, you know, you just think about like when I think about a million concerts I went to back in the day with just 4 million people on me, not even caring, just the adrenaline rushing, like the band's going to be on any minute.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what's going on here. A bomb could go off, bring this band on. And now I'm just like, okay, where can I sit where I'm not around anyone?
Yeah, how early can I get to the Troubadour so I can get upstairs?
Exactly, the upstairs is gold.
Oh, dude, it's full of people that are like rich and mellow. They just want to see, like, if Built to Spill comes back and does the Troubadour like that, I'm going every night, and I'm going to get there early and sit upstairs.
Man,
bring a book.
I love it. So I knew. There were some people at the show. Pat the plumber was there, and he's like, hey, you're going to do the Baselworld episode again. And I was pretty excited about that because you and I have the special bonding of watches. We talked about it many times on here. That's how we met at the store, and then we became great friends. And last year we did the Baselworld, and we're still reeling from probably the best release from Rolex in 20 years.
It's a hot one. This is a hot release.
It was.
It really is only one watch, really.
It was. It was
but
the
it's
Daytona.
Such the ceramic Daytona.
Panda white.
Changed. Even I know you're not super into the black dial, but I like the black dial still a lot. And Rolex seems to have shifted a little, and it's almost like they've gotten more conservative within their new releases. Like it's a little more. They're not doing throwbacks. Like TUDOR has a real like nostalgic sense, like a real simple, like full, like only tool watch, like just structural. But Rolex isn't that. They still feel like more designed, more of a luxury brand. But within that, they seem to have pulled back a little from just being as ornate, and it seems more like functional.
Yeah,
which is rad.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the, you said an interesting thing when we were in the car a couple days ago. You never followed Baselworld before, probably 2006 because Rolex never made a new watch.
Yeah, it was pretty rare. It was like subtle variations in pre-existing models. You'd get like a bunch of new dials for the Datejust, new like diamond bezels, like things like that didn't necessarily interest me that much.
Not till the Milgauss, the green Milgauss.
Milgauss, and well, really, and the GMT2, when the GMT2 changed.
Right. Then you start going like, well, these guys are, they got some new shit.
Yeah.
And now it's gotten to where people are expecting stuff each year.
Yeah.
And it's, and let's keep in mind that Rolex, they are very careful on what they do with their history. They don't want to remake what they made in the past, where Tudor is mining the past, which is smart because they're relatively new again.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't even know about those Tudors back then.
Yeah, you have to explain to people what Tudor is. They don't know that it's been around a really long time.
Yeah.
They think it's like a new thing. You're like, no, this was a thing forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going to cover a few different brands, but we'll start with the Rolex because that's always you and I. I immediately called you up. So they dropped.
You didn't call. You texted me at midnight.
Oh yeah, midnight. Yeah. You see this,
dude? You see this? What?
Yeah.
No. What do you mean?
Yeah.
It happened. Their site. It's like you had an alert set on your phone.
Well, it was so crazy because I was following the Rolex forum, and they were saying that Baselworld was on the 22nd. But on the website, it is the 23rd. But now I realize that that's when it opens for the public.
Oh, yeah, there's the preview night.
Right, the 22nd is the preview night.
Yeah.
So there's a guy, and I wish I knew the website because I would look it up, but I just flew in, and I will tweet it. But he, in the last 2 years, there's a website where the guy had guessed correctly what the stuff is. And so for the last 3 months, he's been saying it's going to be ceramic bezels on the Yacht Masters. It's going to be a 50-year anniversary Sea Dweller, but he was showing different ones with like blue writing.
Yeah.
Then he was showing one that was like the deep sea with it had a half green, half black face.
Yeah.
And then about 4 days ago, he goes, "Oh, here's the watch." And it gets released, and he nailed it. So he definitely has somebody on the inside. And you said something smart. It has to be somebody in the art house that put together. It's a
designer. It's probably a designer or a webmaster. It's the kind of thing that gets uploaded to like, a Dropbox type situation.
Yeah.
Which if I was Rolex, I'd be fucking livid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because he had the actual photos and everything. Now that you
but then maybe they want a little bit of
hype like that,
just gossip.
Right.
They want people to be curious, and if you have to, if no one's gonna know, I don't know, depends.
Well, Rolex is even in the game. For a week, they were teasing on Instagram.
Yeah, they teased those little ads.
That was kind of cool,
Well, it's always like a piece, because the true Rolex nerds, like beyond you and I, can tell. Like when they show just like the side of a part, they're like, that's the bezel from this. That means there's a new bezel on this model. Like they have to be really careful what they show.
Yeah.
Because even a clasp, they're like, that's a fucking Sea Dweller clasp. But but it's wider. That means it's probably a 43 millimeter. Like you can figure that stuff out.
Like there's one guy on the Rolex forum, which if you guys want to follow the forum, it's rolexforum.com.
It's a good one.
He's one of those guys. His logo is kind of a ham radio, and he'll come in on every kind of topic. People will be arguing, and then he'll come in and go, "Actually, you're wrong. It's this, this, and this guy knows everything about Rolex.
Yeah,
unbelievable. So the website guesses 43 millimeter. Sea Dweller 50-year anniversary, red writing with a Cyclops, and immediately the controversy kicks up. The big watch is definitely dead as of like 3-4 years ago.
It's the popularity of the large watch has waned for sure.
Yeah, it's back to 40 and 39.
But 43 isn't. I don't know if I necessarily put it as a huge watch. 42 millimeter is the edge.
Yeah.
So you're saying an extra millimeter, which 3 millimeters.
But the thickness of that makes it feel even crazier.
Yeah.
Of a Sea Dweller.
A Sea Dweller has a very thick movement because of the helium gas release valve, and just because of the depth, it can go way deeper.
4,000 feet.
Yeah, so it is a taller watch. It sits really tall on your wrist, and they're heavy. And I have what you would call the wispy wrist of a flutist, and so I can't necessarily.
You got an art wrist?
Yeah, and my left wrist has nary seen a lot of what you would call manual labor in its life. So I can't necessarily. I've had a regular sea dweller, and that felt like too big or just like heavy, and so like I don't fuck with those necessarily. But I think 43. I mean, it's still smaller than the bronze Black Bay.
It's smaller than the deep sea dweller, which is 44.
Was that 45?
44.
44.
Yeah,
okay.
so what they have now is they have 40 for Submariner.
Dude, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
For a whole new case for 1 millimeter smaller.
It's crazy, right?
I would give anything to talk to the development people and the designers, because Rolex does. It's not like Rolex is this boutique company that does okay. Yeah. They kill it.
Oh yeah.
So they must have crazy like test marketing research.
Oh yeah.
Because you and I are like, why are they doing this? It's like it's not like they're wrong. They do it right. So I wonder where they must know their market so well.
I think it has a lot to do with what's going to make somebody with a bunch of 40 millimeter watches buy something.
Yeah.
Well, let's change the size, you know?
Yeah.
Well, not too big, you know?
I think that the Sea Dweller, the most recent one that only came out for 2 years, it was just too similar to the Sub.
Right.
So people that wanted one or the other, you're basically splitting your markets in half.
It's way better than the Sub though, that last 2 year model.
But you have to love Rolexes to get that it's better.
Yeah, no, well, most people don't understand what a Sea Dweller is. Now, if you don't know what it is, it looks exact to a Submariner. Exact. Except for it doesn't have the Cyclops Magnum eye.
Yeah, the bubble.
Over the date. And it has a small valve on the side for when the sat diver goes down thousands of feet. When it comes up, the watch doesn't explode.
Yeah, it's more durable technically than a Sub.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, it's a really cool watch. And I've always liked them as just like a very subtle way to buy the Rolex that you've always loved the look of. Like a Sub, but slightly different.
Yep.
They're cool. They're just like this tiny little niche.
Super nerd.
Yeah.
You know, like people go,
and they're not much more like if the cheapest Submariners, if you're looking for one, or not for the ones from the 90s, they're like $5,000, which again, a lot of money. But like if you can get a Sea Dweller for like 55.
Yep.
And it's just like slightly different, and it's a cleaner look on across the dial because it doesn't have the bubble. And that's why a lot of people like it.
That's why I love it.
Because it feels more symmetrical.
Yeah.
Like a Sub with no date.
Yep.
And anything extra, little techie thing is cool to me. If I didn't have, like I said, a wispy, withering, dying wrist of someone who's in hospice care, I would wear one.
Now,
I've had one.
I also think another reason they didn't do 40 is they definitely do not want to make the same watch they made back in the 70s, a red Sea Dweller.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they definitely did that on purpose to keep the market of the original ones up.
Remakes, I don't think, are that great.
Right.
Full remakes. They're like cool. You're like, yeah, cool. But it just, if the original's still out there, because new watches are expensive.
Yep.
A brand new Rolex anything, especially a sport watch, is at minimum at this point $7,500.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So, and if the original's out there, you can probably find something. Okay, a red Sea Dweller's $50,000.
Out of question, yeah.
But it's out there, so you're just kind of it gives you this feeling like, well, I'm just buying this because I can't afford the original.
Yeah.
So I think Rolex is really smart with their new models that they don't just over emulate the past, because it's. I think you're not going to get people to want it. It seems like a less than comparison.
Well, it gets into cheesy too, like maybe you missed it the first time.
Yeah.
But here it is, and then thank God they don't do shit like, and we've aged it to look old.
That's the thing. Like you get into making the markers look off-white because old markers look patinaed. So then you're just coloring them, where you're like, come on, man.
Yeah, you know. One thing I do, and I'm going to ask you what you think of the 43 millimeter Sea Dweller, but one thing I love, And I've really become a guy that only likes the new ones now because it just gives me this incredible peace of mind of, okay, got it at the shop, long warranty. I know everything's real.
Yeah.
But with red subs and red sea dwellers, there's a million fake ones out there because it makes it so much more money.
So hard.
Now, I've yet to, and I wish that Bo was here, our master from LA Watchworks. I wish he was here because I always forget. When you bought a red sub or red sea dweller, on the paperwork, does it say red sub?
No, I don't believe it does.
Right, so that...
But there was a serial number period where they made both.
Oh, got you.
So it's a 1680 sub, which is 70s, and there was just a period of maybe a year or two or three, something like that, of where red subs were available. Now, there was white subs there too. So a lot of times, guys will buy a 1680 with white lettering, a normal dial, and then buy a red sub dial, a real one, for like an extra $2,000 or $3,000.
Yep.
And you can replace it. And technically, that's not incorrect. You're not, because those dials were during that time period, whatever. And it'd be like a serial number. If you're talking 70s, it's like 2.5 million through like 4 million. Something like that.
Why did they make red? Do you know? I don't know.
I think it was just a thing. They just did it.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, when you see it, there's nothing cooler than red sub Tiffany.
Yeah.
You're like, what the
it's weird.
fuck?
Those are hard. But again, those dials, they're really easy to fake for people that know how to fake things. So you got to really look closely, like... because the way I've noticed, I've looked up like how to tell fake ones is you have to get up with a microscope, and sometimes you can tell there's white ink under the red ink.
Wow!
But you're almost a way to tell it's real is if it's fading pink.
Oh yeah,
because red fades pink, whereas white with red on top does not fade pink. The red just you can start to see the white underneath. But it's again with these old Rolexes, they're so expensive and they're so valuable. It's gotten really risky to buy expensive old ones.
Right.
I like inexpensive old Rolexes. That's what, my favorite watch in the world is an old Datejust. Yeah. They're inexpensive. They're cool as shit looking. They look good with everything. And it's not really worth it to fake them. And people, it's too, not a lot of people are out there faking Datejust. There's a lot of shitty refinished dials.
Yeah. But
as far as you're not running a huge risk.
Yeah,
but man, I would love a red sub, but you're talking $13,000 for something you may take in to get service, and they're gonna go, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You have a real movement and a real case. This dial is fake as fuck.
Always a fear.
And the difference between a 70 Submariner regular and a 70 red sub is
$5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah.
So you just got hosed for $5,000.
Well, so
to me, go buy if you have a big enough wrist.
Get the new one.
Get the new Sea Dweller.
Yeah.
It's different case. You're like, I get red writing, rad, and you don't have to worry about anything.
I really like the watch a lot, but I do wish it was 40.
See, but you have a big enough wrist.
I do, but it gets into you get into 42, 43, 44, and then you go to put a jacket on.
Yeah, it's impossible with certain kinds of clothes.
Yeah, that's why I got off Panerized, because they sit tall and they're big.
Yeah.
And after a while, you're like, well, I can't wear this because it's cold and I'm wearing this tight leather jacket or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you like the new Sea Dweller?
I do. I mean, I think there's a lot of guys out there with huge wrists.
Yeah.
And they want to wear a Rolex, but they put on a regular sub and it looks like a Datejust on them.
It's going to sell like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because the bracelet, they did what they didn't. The thing that was the problem with the original Deep Sea was the bracelet was the same width. So it made the case look all balloony and huge. They made the bracelet bigger. So proportionally, it looks good.
Yeah.
And so guys who are bigger, who want to wear just a kind of a...
The new one, the links are bigger?
It looks wider to me.
Right, I'm sure. Yeah. We'll check it out. Actually.
When you look at it, it doesn't you could tell it was the old bracelet on the Deep Sea.
Oh God, it was like this. It was like small on the other side.
So this will look the same on a bigger guy as a normal Submariner or a Sea Dweller, and that's, I think, a brilliant. That's so smart, because there are tons of guys out there that just have bigger arms.
Yep.
And they want to wear a Rolex and they don't, but it doesn't look right on them.
I know I'm going to see it in person and be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because it's not, that's the thing, it's not so much bigger to where you're like, look at that monstrosity.
Not at all. Not at all. No, it's not crazy bigger at all.
What's the price on it?
It was, let me look real quick.
Because the old one was, the 2-year one was what, 10?
10.7, which was really crazy how much more it was compared to the sub, you know?
The sub's 8,500.
Yeah, it was really well. So this one here, the cost on it is, here we go. Let me look real quick. Fuck. Let me get to it.
The thing about, and if you're a person that's maybe thinking of buying a new Rolex, these new Rolexes,
oh god,
I mean, you and I both love old ones. The new ones are just, they're a better watch.
They are a better watch.
The movements are good. The fucking dials glow. The bracelets are great.
They've got this slide bracelet on the Sea Dweller, where you just pop it down and you can slide it as big as you want or smaller. And why they don't, of course it's because of wetsuits, but why they don't have that on like older watches, it blows my mind. The watch is 11.3, which is a great price, you know,
bigger
for a 50-year anniversary, you know. Now, 50-year anniversary, we'll see how long they fucking run this thing, like they did with that 50-year anniversary of the sub, the green one.
How many years did that actually go, the green sub?
It ran from 03 to 9, I think, or
that's
10.
A long time.
A long fucking time, and they changed the
But
tints.
again, that was during the period where they weren't adding new models.
You're right.
So it was just, and honestly, that 50-year anniversary was just the bezel.
That's all.
And the maxi dial.
Oh, maxi dial. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so of course, before we go on to the next watch, it was amazing to see the immediate yes and no's on the forum.
Yeah.
Every other one was fuck no, ugly, love it, gotta have it, first online, all that. It's amazing how many people's taste are different. And you'll see that, just like with me, change in a month. People will be like, you know, I hated that at first, but now I'm kind of warming up to it.
That's I change over time on everything.
Well, it gets into boredom too. Because you're like bored with something and all of a sudden you go, you know what? I don't mind that. You know? One watch that I'll never say I don't mind that is the next one they released. They updated the Yachtmaster 2. Still a watch I do not understand. It is, now for me, it's one of the ugliest watches they've ever made. It just looks like, it makes no sense to me. Like, what is it? You know what I mean?
It's huge.
It's huge.
It's white gold.
What
or is this one steel or white gold?
It's white gold.
It's white gold. It's got a blue bezel, and then it's got this sort of 3/4 crescent shape with the numbers in it. It's got a weird, it's straight nautical.
What are the numbers for?
I don't know.
Is that like, it's got to be some sailing shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's got like a 1 through 10 in the middle of the dial. And we should know, but I don't know because I don't like this watch. So I do 0 time spending on it.
But this is another one where I look at it and I go, they must sell them, otherwise they wouldn't update
why would they update it?
I see it. I see people wearing them online, but I think it's like, again, and also we don't know how the numbers of how many they make.
Right.
Like this may be like a small number one, you know, just as far as white gold goes. But it's I didn't know. Wait a minute. No, why does it have a chronograph movement?
Well, it's always had that. That's where all the Daytona movements went to. You know, that's why they say the Daytona is.
Wait. Did the Yachtmaster 2 always
had the? Yep, it had a. This actually has the Daytona movement. Yeah, which is crazy.
Well, they seem to be. I mean, we'll get into the really big release, but they seem to be wanting to, in their sport watch realm, to make things all around the same price point. I mean, now this is a lot because it's white gold.
Yeah.
But they seem to want to push their price range to $10,000.
Yeah, and also they like to get into I think they're trying to get into a little bit of ego of some complicated movements.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is the Milgauss still, the green crystal, is still a thing?
I can't believe it. I thought it would be gone, but they still make the black face and the blue face. And I'm starting to love the blue face lately.
Blue dial is something I love to look at, but will never buy.
You know, you're right, because...
you have to wear blue.
Yeah, let me see. I'm looking at this Yachtmaster real quick. And I'm sure there's some people. It's 44 millimeter, which is the same size as that deep sea dweller.
Yeah.
It's let's see here.
Comes in steel, two-tone.
Oh, it's steel.
Well, there's two. There's steel and two-tone, and then I think there's all white gold, and I think there's all.
Right.
I don't know if there's all steel.
It's got the 72-hour Daytona.
There's a
movement
part of
in
me that loves a nasty ass gold watch that's huge. Just as like if you have tons of money,
Yeah.
and you're just like, what? Look at this monstrosity.
Well,
It's
you
like
and I
that-
love the all gold Submariner.
Yeah.
I've been drooling over it the last couple weeks.
But
There's
even-
something 70s cocaine about it.
Yeah, those 70s like gold GMTs. There's something very like Laurel Canyon Trans Am.
Yep.
Just
it's
like
Coke dealer.
Well, all like I think I've said this before, but Tom Selleck gave everyone on Magnum PI gold GMTs.
Oh fuck.
And so it's like 80s Hawaii Coke, like
Yeah.
Hawaiian shirt. Like, hey
Oh.
man, here's a bunch of gold watches for everybody.
Well, it's definitely like when I see those, I think of the documentary Cocaine Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
They just roll into Rolex and went, "Let me get the gold one," and
Yeah.
walked out. They didn't even know what watch they were buying. It was just gold.
Yeah,
But
there's-
when I put on that gold sub with the fucking
Ceramic bezel.
ceramic bezel,
Yeah.
what a watch!
I could never let myself wear that, but it is maybe the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, right.
Like, I wish I had the self-confidence to wear that watch.
Now,
I
why
mean,
wouldn't you wear it? I'm just curious.
I think it's too flashy for me.
Yeah.
It just, I'm not a flashy person necessarily. I like something to be like quietly noticeable to where you have to kind of have a little knowledge to see it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I have a sub, but I'm not really wearing it right now. But like that's about as flashy as I'll get. It's
Right.
stainless steel. It's not like a super crazy. Like I was looking at, there's a great gold Datejust on HQ right now that's reasonably priced. But I'm like, am I gonna wear this?
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna wear a gold? I had a gold watch once. I never wore it.
Well, some of our friends wear them.
Yeah, they're cool.
And I just go like, well, that's badass. They just rock a gold Rolex.
Oh, dude, Burt Kreischer
Yep.
rocks his gold Rolex with no shirt and shorts.
I love it.
And it's great.
Yep.
And there's a part of me that I don't think there's anything wrong with it so much as I just envy someone who likes themselves enough to let themselves enjoy life that much.
I love
and
that.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I'm just not. So I tend to buy subtle stainless steel simple watches.
I tend to buy stuff, and this has always been my thing because, of course, I always say everything in my house is parachutes. It's all emergency escape routes.
Yeah.
And what I always buy, and my brain has taught me this over and over, I buy the thing that's impossible to get.
Yeah, you're a limited edition dude.
And I'm not talking Toyota Tundra limited because
No.
that means limited to 6 billion.
Yeah.
I'm talking impossible shit to get.
Yeah.
Because when all of a sudden the rent is due, I can flip that in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next guy that couldn't get it's there.
Well, you and I were talking about watches, and you were mentioning one you wanted, and I was like, that one's hard to sell.
Yeah.
And I think you and I aren't rich. So, like, these are watches, when we do buy them, we have to save up for long periods of time.
Yep.
So, the prospect of the shit hitting the fan, like, I had to sell last year, you had to sell 2 watches for me because my dog needed tons of medical care.
Yep.
So, these have to be things that are easily sold quickly. And so, that's a big criteria. And I think it's a criteria for a lot of people when they decide to, especially a Rolex, because Rolex is the luxury watch everyone knows. So when someone has like it's not necessarily a watch someone buys when they're rich. It's a watch someone buys when they have a hot year.
They definitely don't buy it when they're rich.
No.
We'll get into the watches they buy when they're rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, like I said over and over, and I've gotten emails over the years, who would spend that much on a watch? Rolex is entry level. Tudor, Rolex,
Yeah.
Omega, that's all entry level.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, you might think it's a lot of money, but if you don't smoke or drink a Starbucks coffee a day, you would have 9 of these watches.
Yeah.
Believe
I mean,
it or not.
basically, me not drinking my whole life is why I can afford that stuff.
Exactly. So, anyway, let's get in. So then they released some Daytonas, different faces, but they've come out with the rubber band on them, which the one that was on the Yachtmaster last year, that kind of flex Panerai style band.
Yeah.
Which I like this. How do you like it?
I don't.
No?
I don't like rubber, and the problem is you wear it and you leave like sweat marks on it, and you got to clean it because it leaves like salt deposits.
And they stink too.
Yeah, I
that.
don't know. I don't care what kind of rubber it is. Rubber cracks.
But this one here fucking hurts me. The
white gold.
It's the white gold with the gray face.
Oh wow!
Look at this, man.
Red Daytona writing.
I mean, if you're a Raider fan, holy shit! This is silver and black attack. This watch, it is incredible.
Daytonas are so attractive.
They are, right?
Like you and I talked about this. Like it is like kind of the ultimate Rolex watch.
Yep.
If you have that much extra money and you're like, I want one Rolex. My budget is whatever. Just you go get like a steel Daytona and you're like, I'm good. I'm done.
That's all you really need.
Yeah.
And you and I, for some idiotic reason, we always fucking scoot around it.
Well, because it's $10,000.
I know.
And there's like a psychological barrier. It's like, why am I wearing a $10,000 watch?
Yeah.
Like I don't have a $10,000 watch lifestyle.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of like, I'd have to have a couple really strong years in a row to where I was like, it's Daytona time.
Yeah.
Like I'd have to feel really safe to where it wasn't like I might have to sell this. It'd be like, I'm not going to have to sell this.
Yeah.
That's when I buy it. And living in Los Angeles and having a home and a mortgage, I don't feel that way ever.
Yeah.
So it's like a brain thing. It's like $10,000, man. It's a lot of money. That feels like, because I'm old enough to where that's how much a car used to cost.
Oh yeah, right.
Like that's how much an '80s Honda Civic cost.
Yeah.
Like that's how much your car
that's
costs.
a lot of Harleys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
$10,000's a lot of
that's a
goddamn
Dyna
money.
Harley right there.
You can renovate your garage.
Yeah.
Like that's real money.
Yeah, it really.
You know?
The thing is though, and I'm going to tell you guys this: if you do want a Daytona or a Rolex, and you're asking me what to get, and you do have money, once you put the Daytona on, the way the body fits on your wrist, there's no other watch by Rolex that fits like this.
It like hugs your wrist. The lugs curve around man. It sits perfect.
It's unbelievable.
It's light.
Yeah.
It's like not super heavy, and once you put that on, like when I've put them on, I'm like, I gotta take this off immediately.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just gonna want this too much, and I don't want to spend this much money.
And talk about a watch that no one rocks. It's hard
you don't
to get.
see it.
It's hard to get in the stainless steel. It is impossible to get right now. It's a $5,000 markup on the Panda,
Yeah.
and about a $3,000 markup on the black dial one. And they're crazy.
But again,
hard to get.
I recommend the '90s ones. They're not super hard to find, and they're like $9,000.
Yeah.
9,500.
Yeah, you're so right there. Or even early 2000s.
Yeah.
When Rolex did their own movement.
You can find those with box and papers for around $10,000 or $11,000 if you're looking to spend that kind of cash.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a cool watch. And it's a watch you can wear with anything. You can wear it with t-shirt and jeans. You can wear it with a suit. And it sits flat enough to where you can get it under a shirt cuff.
Oh, perfectly. And it's the ultimate. It's the Paul Newman watch.
Yeah.
We talked about it last year. We
Yeah.
lost our minds when they released it. It was the first time that Rolex actually did mine in the past and make it. That's the same thing we're talking about with the Seador, because the original ones were 36 millimeter,
Yeah.
and they went up to 40,
Yeah.
but it looks the same,
Yeah, I mean, they did it's what they did with the Milgauss, which I still to this day think is an underrated watch. I think it's
definitely
fucking
think that.
cool as shit. But they didn't duplicate the old look. They just took elements of it and made new versions of that.
A lot of people hate the Milgauss.
It's universally hated. My girlfriend hates it. They call it the Rasta. Like they don't love the. It's because it's very colorful for a Rolex dial.
Yeah.
And you have a green crystal, half and half orange markers, and then an orange lightning bolt hand and a black sort of like matte dial. And Milgauss is an
Tobacco
orange.
dial. Yep.
And I mean, for some reason, the green crystal neutralizes all those color changes, and I think it looks super rad.
My buddy Steve McDonald was just looking at it, and he was like, that is the coolest watch I've ever seen. He said it almost looks like it's electric, like it's powered on, because the way when the light hits the green, it looks like there's a light inside there.
Yeah, the difference between the green crystal and the not green crystal is notable. I had the black dial without the green crystal, and I didn't have it for very long.
Yeah.
Because I was like, every time I saw a green one, I was like, that one's way cooler.
Yeah.
But I love that watch. It sits slightly too large on me, but I wish it fit because I would just have that.
I still
and they're
think it
really
fits you
reasonable. I mean, we'll see.
How fuck you can get them for $5,000 right now?
Yeah.
And there was a time where the markup on it, they were selling them for $20,000.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? We've said it over and over. If you bought it for $20,000,
Dude, you'd be hating your life right now.
All right, we're gonna get into the show. The Baselworld, to me, the all-time winner of this year for me. And it's really funny because I've always loved this watch. And I was just clowning it last week with Kevin. I was like, yeah, I put it on. It's like a hamburger on your wrist. But that was really me mostly thinking like, I'll never have one of those, so fuck that watch. But there was one reason I didn't like this watch. And I realized with the new release what I didn't like about it. I never liked the Roman numerals.
Yeah.
They were squished. It made the dial look like they threw all kinds of shit on the dial.
Well, it's a crowded dial to begin with.
Totally.
So then you add Roman numerals, they just take up a lot of space.
And the way that some of them were squished and then
Yeah.
there was no numbers in some of the spots,
Yeah,
I
they
was
get
like,
cut
this
off.
is an ugly-ass dial. It had no flow to it.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about is the Sky Dweller. And a lot of people don't know what this watch is. It's the most complicated movement they make. It does the date, it does the month, it does GMT time, and it does regular time. And it has the most original, cool, like spinning bezel to set the watch.
Yeah, you set all the movements with the bezel.
It's unbelievable, and they released a stainless steel one, which some people are really fucking shocked and pissed because what you don't understand about Rolex is some of the models are only precious metals, and people like that. So the peasants, so to speak, will
Yeah.
never have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
watch
yeah.
they have, and
Yeah.
their watch will never be confused for those watches.
See, I think this is the fucking best.
Me too.
Because the problem I had with the Sky Dweller was the precious metal part. It was like Rolex's importance is essentially it was established as a tool watch.
Right.
The Submariner is the reason we all know of Rolex. And that's a tool watch. It had a function. You could dive with it. And this, the Sky Dweller, movement-wise, is the most interesting thing they've done in 20 years. So the fact that they're like, no, the story with this watch is the fucking movement, not the metal.
Yep.
And so now you could, if it's still expensive, but like it's about the movement and how cool it is. This is like, to me, the best.
Yeah.
It's so rad. And dude, if you want to show off, buy the fucking rose gold one.
Right.
But
right.
like, it's the same. It's the same thing. If you want to show off and have a sub, buy a gold sub.
Yeah.
Buy a president. Like, it's not, that stuff. But I think this is rad. I think and the thing that I think is smart about it is it's a price point companion to the Daytona.
You're right.
Because Daytona was always this like price outlier
Yeah.
where it was the only stainless steel watch that was really expensive in their line. So like you'd have like subs and stuff that were like $5, $6, $7 grand, and then all of a sudden you'd be like, Daytona's like 12, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's like a new area of their catalog. It's like, no, we do stainless steel models that have more interesting movements that are in this price range. So
Yeah.
it's like an in between.
It's like the Paddock 5711. It's a stainless steel. It's $24,000.
Yeah.
It's only stainless steel.
Yeah.
It's all about the movement and
Yeah.
the brand, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And once they get into a few movements from $10,000 to $20,000 that are stainless steel, you're going to start seeing a different market.
It's an in between. It's an in between market. It's like subs are between 5 to 8, and then you go. But then you had to jump. Then you jumped from there. There was one model, the Daytona, that was 12 or 13, and then you went all the way to like $30,000.
Yeah.
There was nothing in between there.
Yep.
So it's like, well, if you don't want a Daytona, which good luck getting one anyways.
Yep.
There's this other model that has everything. It's got basically all our movements, all our functions in it. And it's a name you haven't heard. It's the Sky Dweller. It's only 3 or 4 years old. It looks different.
Yeah.
But it's still a Rolex. Dude, that thing is sweet looking.
Here's the
40 millimeter.
It's 40. Oh, good question. I think it's 42. Let me look real quick. Here's the thing. When the Sky Dweller first came out a few years ago, I was laughing. I go, that is the ugliest thing ever. What is it? I didn't understand it at all. Didn't even look into it. It's 42 millimeter.
Yeah.
And then
Too big
I
for me.
start looking at the fucking watch. I YouTube the movement and find out what it does, and I immediately start losing my mind like, holy shit, that is a badass watch. Then Russell Peters had it, and I was on tour with him. And I was examining it. I go, this could be the coolest watch I've ever seen.
It's rad.
Out of
Is it
Rolex.
tall? Like, does it sit tall?
It sits tall a little bit like a hamburger, you know, but I think that you would just get used to it, you know, because I asked Russell, I texted him about 3 weeks ago because he's over in South Africa shooting his new TV show, Indian Detective. And I was just curious. I go, hey, because he owns all the great Rolexes, all the new great ones. He has the Platinum Daytona. He has the Batman.
Yeah.
He has the Sky Dweller. He has all of them. I said, hey, man, one watch. You only get to you lose everything and you only have one watch. He said Sky Dweller. Well,
Really?
like lightning speed.
Wow.
It came back lightning speed over his Platinum Daytona.
Yeah.
So anyway, they release the colors too. You can go black dial, blue dial, or white dial.
Now, do all of them have the white gold middle polish link in the bracelet?
On that one there, and then the two tones have 18 karat bezel.
Ooh.
Now this to me is I call it the Jerry, which by the way Jerry's new nickname is Jerry Two Tone.
Yeah.
Because Jerry loves two-tone watches.
Yeah.
Look at this watch right here.
That's
two-tone.
pretty attractive looking. Now, again, the dial is very busy.
Yep.
So if you want a really simple dial, this isn't for you.
This
but
isn't for you.
It's like a big date just with another circle in the middle and a gnarly ass movement. But it's not so complicated because it doesn't have a crown guard.
Yeah.
So it has that just sleek Rolex shape.
Also, something about it is it 72? Yep, 72-hour power reserve like the Daytona. Another thing about this though is, man, do not get this watch if you don't want to talk to people at a party. Because everyone's going to be like, what the fuck is that? It is a conversation piece.
Dude, it's cool looking.
It is, and it has immediately become my favorite Rolex. And I know it's one of those things that I would geek out and just love. Now, it has these boxes around the hour markers. And this is why I love the watch. They changed it to stick markers like a Milgauss.
Or a date just.
And next to the stick markers, it has little boxes, and the box will light up red for the month it is. So right now it's on 8, so that's August. So
That's
August
so
28th.
cool.
Yeah, which is insane. And then you have the GMT time, which is 22:12, and then the hour time of 10:12.
It's pretty sweet looking, man.
Fuck. And it has a blue dial that hit me at first for a few minutes. I was like, blue all the way. And then I went, nah, that'll get old real quick. Black dial. But the two-tone really kind of fucks me up.
I really wonder how hard this one's going to be to get. Because it's not like it's... The Sky Dweller initially is not a hugely popular model because it's so expensive.
Yeah, so people didn't look at it.
Yeah, so it's not like people were hungry for new versions.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is going to be a watch that won't be that hard to get.
Well, I checked the forum, and everyone wanted it.
Oh, cool.
The only thing they were coming down, and no one wanted the white one, and no one was talking two-tone. And let me give you guys a tip out there. The two-tone is, let's see, $3,000 more.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're going to be able to get it for the same price as the stainless, because it'll be sitting there and they'll go, well, we don't have the stainless, but we'll give you this one for the same price.
Two-tones are underrated to me, and if you're a person that has self-confidence, just go for it.
Jerry Two-Tone will be all
Two-Tone.
over.
Yep. If you're Italian, you love gold. If you have olives, if you're not pale and gross looking like me, gold looks good on you.
It looks great.
Enjoy it. Be love. You're lucky. You're lucky that you don't look like a fucking pink piece of old ham like me.
Yeah.
And you can wear gold. Wear gold. It looks fucking great on people.
My boy Jesse Metcalf wears a gold
He's tan.
date. Yeah, I walk up on him. I'm like, that watch looks fantastic.
Look up
on you.
Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
He's rail thin, covered in tattoos, wears a gold president. He looks spectacular.
Gerard Carmichael. Rocking an
Martin Luther
amazing-
King Jr. Very few color photos, but he wore a gold date just.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this watch, I'm giving you guys a heads up, is one of the coolest Rolexes I think ever made. And for
It's
me,
pretty cool,
for
man.
me, man. So yeah, check that out. Now they did some other watches, but we'll just give you a quick. Okay, they did the day date. They did a date just finally in stainless steel.
Yes.
which is what
A
Kevin's
Datejust 2.
Datejust 2. And
Which is a
Kevin's
bigger case.
Yeah.
The Datejust 2 is 41 millimeters.
41 millimeter.
And so for people that have an in-between wrist, the original Datejust are 36 millimeter, which I think is a beautiful size. But the Datejust 2 is like, it's like a size of a sport watch, but if you don't want to get a sub, which I think is rad.
Right.
But they never came on Jubilee bracelets, which to me, when I think Datejust, I think a Jubilee bracelet. That's the classic look. But they didn't have a big Jubilee bracelet in all stainless steel. Last year they came out with a two-tone, which is rad. The rose gold two-tone, Datejust 2 is so rad looking. But so now they have it on a Jubilee, which is very exciting.
Which is the band that looks like a chain link, if you guys are wondering what Jubilee
so
is.
70s, like business person, just like, I needed a watch. This fits. John Hughes used to wear a Jubilee Datejust. Like, they're fucking cool to me.
They are.
Like, I love them. They fit great.
And you can get it in blue face or black face. Stainless.
Let me see the picture.
Yeah, okay, let me show you the picture. It's incredible. Which, by the way, Rolex, your website sucks. Always does. I mean, in order to see the different ones, I got to step out of the Baselworld releases and go down and go to their regular
It's always very
and then you
confusing.
hit configure.
Yeah.
And then you got to go over here to 41. Then you got to go bezel, which it only comes, is this, okay, smooth.
That's smooth bezel.
And then dial.
No, bracelet.
Here you go, bracelet. So then you go, there you go. Jubilee, and then...
Whoa! Gray dial?
Yeah, gray dial.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello, little lady.
So there it is.
What's up, you little slut?
Yeah,
you want to live at fucking my house, bitch?
74.50.
Ooh, that's okay. That's okay. We'll have to sell some shit. I gotta start giving blood for money.
You don't go black one?
Either, but gray is sexy.
Well, gray, what I like about gray is it's not going to be mistaken for an Explorer or anything, you know?
That is a dirty bitch. I want that. Dude.
That's 41 though. You won't even wear the 40 mil gals.
But the Jubilee makes it like different.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Because you know what it reminds? It's the same size. There's those Seiko divers. They make the Pepsi dial Seiko diver. It's like the SK something, and it comes on a big ass Jubilee bracelet, and it looks tough as fuck.
Wow.
I love it. There's a guy who has a store in Long Beach who sells like workwear stuff. Like, you know, Ironheart shit, and he wears one, and I almost buy one every 3 days because they're cheap. They're $300.
Yeah, right.
But dude, that looks so good.
All right, so now we're gonna get into my buddy Russell Kelly's.
Wow, they made a two-tone.
Yeah, look at this, dude. Tudor.
Wow.
We're on Tudor now, which has been our favorite for the last couple of years because they're
they're killing it.
Very great price, and they are crushing it, man, out there. And this year they came out with a two-tone.
Whoa.
With date Black Bay, and it is awesome. And I mean, fucking awesome. They hit a home run.
Look at that dial.
Look at the dial.
The dial has a minute track.
Yeah.
It looks like gilt printing.
It's gilt printing.
Is that rose gold or yellow gold?
No, that's yellow gold, 18 karat.
Rivet bracelet. And you know what's great about these? That big ass crown.
I love the big crown, which is also gold. And look at this. Look at this with a band if you want.
Whoa.
Yeah, but
go back to all of them.
Right here. So you can get, it comes with 2 bands, stainless steel, and then you can get, look at that. Oh, leather band also for $3,700. You can have just the leather band version. It's a two-tone. It looks like a sub. They also came out with an incredible look at that. Black base steel with a steel bezel instead of like a colored black one or blue. That is sick. With red writing.
$3,800.
$3,800, which is incredible.
The fact that they're putting minute tracks is so rad.
And a date now. They didn't have the date on the black base till this year.
Is this in-house movement?
In-house movement only now. Yeah. Look at that watch.
Man.
And rivet band.
Honestly, this is, once again, hands down the best value in watches.
Unbelievable. If you just want to get in on a watch, $3,800, get this black base steel.
Dude,
it crushes.
That is so good.
With the red writing.
Dude.
It's insane, right?
God.
And then they came out with with a Heritage Chrono that right here, which is insane. They've got basically a kind of a Daytona.
It looks like the first '90s Daytona.
Yep.
But it's only got 2 subdials, and but the date's on the bottom.
Date's on the bottom.
Red writing, and again another minute track.
Yep.
Dude.
And it has a date, which Daytonas don't.
And honestly, a chronograph for $5,050.
Unbelievable. Yeah, first in-house movement of chronograph. Look at that. So these guys absolutely knock it out of the park. Once again, Russell Kelly and the group there. And I had Russell on. I love the guy. And then they did a heritage, this right here, this Tudor heritage watch, which is 41 millimeter.
Wow. I want the 36.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the Ranger.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a plain, very cool.
Simple watch.
It's a sub with no bezel, which is a trip.
$29.50. These prices are so good,
right?
Man.
Tudor rocking it again. So a lot of you guys maybe don't want to get into the Rolex prices.
I think a lot of people just there's like a psychological barrier to buying a Rolex where they think it's a douchebag watch.
Right.
Well, you're not completely wrong. There's a lot of real assholes out, like Dick Cheney. Like, there's a lot of fucking legit assholes.
Yeah, there's some clowns.
Yeah,
man.
so a lot. Like, I knew a guy. He could have afforded any watch. He's like, I'm not a Rolex guy, because I think he didn't like seeing them all the time. Like, he worked at an agency. He was like, dude, everyone has that. I don't want that. So
Right.
they want like something just subtler, a little tougher. Like, Tudor is for real tool watch work. Like, it's blue collar. It's the like high end blue collar watch. Like, I'm gonna put this on. I'm not gonna have to take it off for 5-6 years.
Yep.
And this thing's tough as nails. Like, that's the shit.
And super unique now.
Yeah.
People are it's almost crazy hip to be like, oh, Tudor, badass.
Well, if you look at, I noticed like a lot of like fashion people and stylist people, like menswear people, have a Tudor.
Yep.
Because they're like, no, man. It's why we talk about the Black Bay. I want the blue one, or the bezel one, because that's only Tudor had that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I want it to look like a Tudor. I don't want it to look like a Rolex.
Right.
I want it to look like a Tudor. Like, no, this is different. Like, when I see someone who has one of the new Tudors, I always comment on it. I'm like, hey, man, cool watch.
Yeah.
Because it's just subtle. It's under the radar, and it means it means you care a little, and you looked it up, and you like actually did your research, and you're like, no, I want something a little different.
Yeah, it's fucking great, man.
Yeah.
And in-house movement on all of them now.
I really think, and they're doing it so right because their changes are subtle. So they're seeing themselves as like, they're not trying to follow like current trends and be a thing. They're like, no, they're in it for a long haul. This relaunch is like, no, we're going to be a watch company for another 200 years.
Absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
full, like, no,
and
we're going to
coming to take some fucking, lay some roots down and get on some wrists.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, no, this is the watch your dad's going to give you.
Yeah.
Like, no, my dad gave me his Tudor. I gotta go. Like, he wore it for 15 years. I gotta get it serviced, but don't change anything. Like, this is the watch when you don't let it get polished. This thing gets beat.
Don't let it get polished.
And it looks fucking cooler and cooler and cooler as time goes on.
Well, they said they on purpose didn't use ceramic bezels on their Black Bays. They use it on the Pelagos, but they could have used it. They have the technology right there.
Yeah.
But they want to see their watches age and get vintage looking, the new era, which is so fucking cool.
This is good.
Yeah. Okay, now I want to get into something that has been slowly creeping into me, and you have had it for a long time.
It's called a tapeworm. Kidney stones, you guys.
It's
no laughing matter.
It's the fucking Omega is starting to bite me.
Yeah. Look, I've been an Omega guy. The first watch I ever bought was Omega. I love them. I've had many. I love them. They are a wonderful value. Old Omegas are, to me, one of the best. Like, an old Datejust and an old Omega they're the best. I fucking love them.
Now, I can't remember.
President Kennedy wore an Omega.
Does Omega make their movements, or are they ETA?
Yeah. No, they make their movements.
They make their movements?
They're definitely not ETA.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do make their movements.
Yes.
I couldn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Well, the original, I believe, the original, like, famous Speedmaster movements, I think were they maybe
maybe
Lamania?
Zenith also?
They maybe have been Lamania movements.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think so. I want to say they were made by Omega. The 321 movement, the famous movement that went to the moon, I believe is their technology.
I tell you, what has really been hitting me are these Speedmasters, and then that Snoopy one, and the dark side of the moon,
Yeah.
and that white side of the moon one.
The Alaska.
That Alaska.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was at the show, and Kia's buddy had the Alaska.
So good.
I'm starting to fall in love with Omega.
Yeah.
And I was scolding Kia right now. If he's listening to this, he's gonna go like, "Fuck him, man! He told me wear Rolex only to the show." Because I was like, I was joking when I said, "Don't be wearing no Omega, man. This is a Rolex."
Well, he hit me up and was like, "Hey, what do you think of Omegas?" I was like, "Oh, I see what's happening." Omega is the next step for a lot of people when there's not enough heritage things to buy in Rolex in a certain price range. Because to get historical Rolexes, you're into the $30,000-$40,000 range, whereas you can get old Omegas that are cool and historic for under $10,000. Now, you used to be able to get the same model Speedmaster they wore on the moon for $3,500.
Yeah.
Which were the glory days, and they stayed that price forever. In the last year, like 12 months, they've gone from that to $8,000.
It was crazy because you showed it to me and you go, "Look at this! You can get the Snoopy one for $3,500."
Yeah.
And I was like, "These are cool." And then the new one came out, and all of a sudden that made the blackface Snoopy ones go up to $8,000.
I love that watch.
Yeah, and then the white ones.
It was all that heritage auction they had.
Yeah.
Everything went up, and so their market changed dramatically.
So they've come out this show with the trilogy, and it's 1957, basically reissues of an almost exact 60th anniversary of the three watches.
Yeah.
You can buy it in a badass box set.
You can buy a pack.
Look at this box. It comes in a wood box, and you can have all three watches, or you can just have you can just buy one of them, but they're going to be super hard to get. Look at the box.
Oh,
it's like
wow,
a
that's
cigar
cool.
box. It's so rad.
Well, that's the old box.
Yeah, and then look at this. The leather thing comes with the separate straps, and then this cigar wood box. Look at that.
I think of this set, the most successful one is the Seamaster.
Yeah.
The Railmaster, it's the Railmaster, a Speedmaster, and a Seamaster. Now, the Railmaster, I think the case is significantly larger than it actually came in.
Right.
Whereas the Seamaster's pretty close to the original Seamaster 300. But, dude, what we were talking about...
this one, the Speedmaster.
The Speedmaster reissue's rad, but they've aged the markers to make them look old.
Yeah, they said they did that. And,
which I think is a mistake.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think it's a mistake. Now, the nice thing is you don't have those Speedmasters since the 80s or 90s or something. You've got these weird polished thin links thin strip that went along the links.
Right.
I didn't like it. But now they've gotten rid of that.
Yeah.
The thing with Speedmasters is they've never changed the dial for really long periods of time. So you can get one from any era. What do these cost?
You know, I don't know what they cost.
I think they're kind of a lot.
I bet they are.
Like
and I bet they'll sell out immediately, and it'll be a dumb markup on them.
But the thing with Omegas, though, I never have any trouble seeing them or finding them for a discount.
Well, that Snoopy one is still hard to get. There's still
the Snoopy one, but that's not like,
Yeah, there's only 557 of these watches made, so they're going to be gone immediately because, of course, all the hardcore Omega people are going to want this. You know?
Yeah.
This is a weird watch they came out with.
Whoa, blue ceramic.
Yeah, it's the Planet Blue or something, and it's pretty Big Blue. It's called. I don't like it at all, but
I don't know. It's super weird.
Yeah. I mean, if you were like a guy that worked at Squaw Valley,
yeah,
you know what I mean. You're bombing down.
There is. I appreciate a very outlandishly colored watch for a person that has a lot of watches.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I want orange. I just want something that pops.
Yeah.
But I don't like a complete remake.
Okay, let's talk about this watch here. And let's get into the one high dollar watch just for comedy.
Okay.
Coming in at $85,000 is the new Paddock 5320 Perpetual calendar, and I think it's the most beautiful watch I've ever seen.
That's nice looking.
Oh man.
Okay.
Look at that.
That's nice. I my problem with PATEK for the last, ever since that, there's a dude that took over. The old CEO left, and there's a dude that took over. His last name's Thierry, he's a French guy. There's I will say, a lack of poetry to the dial design.
Right.
The dials, to me, look like they've all been designed only in a CAD program or in a computer.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go into the early 2000s and back towards the 90s, the dials just had more of a human feel to them proportionally, type-wise and things, where PATEK has a chronograph out right now that looks straight up like a Swiss Army watch.
Wow.
And the thing's $90,000.
Wow.
But it looks like it's all laid out in a computer and just doesn't feel right to me. And at that price point, if anything feels wrong, are you fucking shitting me?
Well, you know what they said about this, which is really interesting. This body, the old Paddocks were hand tool made.
Yeah.
This is stamped out. So the guy said it feels like the body has no soul. It's completely perfect.
It's machined.
Yeah, it's machined.
That's what... Dress watches are different than sport watches.
Yeah.
Sport watches, you want that, like, hard edges, like, corners. But a dress watch, which is essentially Patek Philippe's market, it's smoother. It's things feel more elegant. The lines feel more organic. So when it has that feel of things being stamped or over machined or over computerized, it doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
The best, my favorite dials are A. Lang & Son dials. They are, or FP Journe. There's a human element. It feels more organic. It just feels friendlier. It feels softer. It feels more refined.
Yeah.
And that's what I want from Patek. If you look at old Pateks, old chronographs, even their old dress watches, the simple ones, they're so simple. They're so fucking minimal and beautiful. And that's what I've every time I look at the new Pateks, I'm like, Now, granted, they're way out of my price range anyways.
Of course. And let's talk a little bit, like I've said before, Rolex might sound like a lot of money to you guys, but to me, it's like a fine timepiece. You got one and you got to love it. But once you get into, like, I was talking to a guy last night about it, an $85,000 watch.
Yeah.
What kind of money do you really need to have? And I'm not talking a couple $1 million, because still an $85,000 watch is a big chunk out of your $2 million.
I think if you're a guy a human being that has a lot of money, you're smart with money. So I think the rule is, I watched this one time on the Suze Orman show.
Yeah.
It's like you're allowed to spend something like 1% of your gross income on luxury items.
Oh.
So $85,000 means you had to make what? That's $8.5 million?
Wow.
Per year.
Yeah.
If you're buying an $85,000 watch, you better make $10 million.
Well, yeah, like if I'm in the NBA, I'm going to get that.
Okay, I watched a Hodinkee video, which Hodinkee's a watch nerd site, and they had J.J. Redick from the Clippers on.
Yeah.
About his watch collection. Gnarly watch collection.
Wow.
Serious.
Wow.
Lots of APs. Like, he spends a lot of money.
Real shit.
And he was talking about wanting, like, a Patek. I think it was the Celestial. And I think or maybe it was a chronograph. He wanted, like, I think it was a 5110, something like that. And it was like a watch that's like 100, 200,000. He was like, maybe someday. And I was like, maybe someday?
Yeah.
You're making
in the
like
NBA.
$15 or $20 million a year.
Yeah.
But even he's like, that's a lot of fucking money. That's a big chunk. Because it's not like you make $10 million and live in a $3,500 a month apartment.
Nope.
You have a $10 million house.
Yeah.
So if you're a millionaire, you have millionaire expenses.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're not throwing around that kind of money on something that essentially just sits on your wrist.
I was talking about that a couple days ago on my Periscope. I look around my neighborhood and I'm like, how do these guys have this kind of money? So the guy's driving a Lamborghini. So, okay, Lamborghini, $250,000. The insurance on that is easily $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
Then you've got the house that you park it at. So your house, let's say, is $1.5 million, $2 million. You got insurance on that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got maintenance, fuel, and then eating and everything. Your nut. A monthly nut, man, is just crazy.
12 to 15 grand.
Just in insurance and stuff,
It's hard. You got to make a lot of money to have some of this stuff.
Just to
I think that Patek market is legit money people. So
Yeah.
you're talking hedge fund managers,
Yeah.
and then you're talking like sheiks and just full on people that are from generational wealth.
You're right. Like they've got a lot of guys in Dubai and stuff. With that. Just
you're
like
talking
2-3
oil
different-
money,
Yeah, totally.
Texas oil money. Like this is real, the real actual
This
business
is
world.
wealthy, not rich. It's just like, what? I'll take that. Because also the resale on a Paddock is impossible. You got to hope the next guy wants that model, unless you've got a really rare one.
A lot of them are rare. Like, and I mean, the chronographs especially, they make very few. They're very hard to get. Like, if you and I had the money, we couldn't get one.
Right.
Like, you're on a list on a list on a list.
That's crazy.
Like, they're because they make very few. Like, you're talking like 1,000 of them.
Wow.
And they're gone.
Yeah.
So because it used to be like that old Nautilus, if it was the retail was 37 grand and you could sell it for 45 10 seconds after you bought it.
Same with the 5711 right now. It's 24 and they go for 33.
The vintage Patek market it's like the art market.
Wow.
I mean, they go for like, what are considered important Patek Philippe's as far as like the developments of important movements. They go for in the millions at auction.
Wow.
Like people collect them in the same way you collect like a Picasso.
Wow.
So it's not even a watch really.
No.
You're not, and the guys that buy that, they're going to wear it on like the night where they get like a medal from the president.
Yeah.
Like,
because you're so rich. You're this rich. You just look at a guy and go, tell me what time it is right now.
Yeah.
You got a guy who just walks with you and he goes 12:02.
It's like
12:03.
my favorite Bill Gates story is he was giving a talk and they were opening it up for questions and someone goes, how much money do you have in your wallet? And he goes, I don't have a wallet.
Yeah.
Like he's post money.
Yeah.
Like that's not a thing to him anymore. So like there's a guy on Hodinkee who had a incredibly intense Patek collection and Longines collection. And these watches were in the hundreds of thousands. And you were like, it was hard to imagine him wearing them because he spends so much time tracking them down all over the world.
Yeah.
The likelihood of damaging them was not worth the risk. Like, I'm sure he wore it to be on camera, but then it probably went back into a box and went back into a safe, then went back into the back of a bank.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're worth too much money.
In confinement, like environment and shit.
Yeah, you're not. If you own a Picasso, you're not hanging it on the wall outside of a frame. Like you protect that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a great story where what's his name? Steve Wynn.
Yeah, Steve
the
Wynn.
guy owns the Wynn. He was talking to someone. I want to say.
Oh, they stabbed the Picasso.
I don't know if it was a Picasso. It might have been a Renoir.
I remember that. I was reading that.
Steve Wynn is almost blind.
Yeah.
He has terrible eyesight. He went to point at a painting he owned that wasn't under glass and poked a hole through it.
Yeah, I read that.
The painting was worth like $12 million.
Unbelievable.
And he was trying to sell it. Luckily, it's canvas. You can repair canvas. You can glue it in the back. But still poked his own painting through the thing.
What a fucking clown. I love that.
Although that's his museum in Vegas. Sucks. Fucking Warhol portrait of himself. Relax. We all know who you are.
Oh, my God. Okay, I know you got to get out of here. And
drive to Palm
awesome
Springs.
Baselworld this year. I'm going to give one last shout out. We'll do it quick to the, which I love this watch, and nobody ever talks about them ever, the new Zenith that just came out.
Oh, Zenith is great.
Zenith
has a great history. Their movements are they're movements that were used by tons of watch companies,
including Rolex for their Daytona.
Zenith sold movements to all the major companies. They make amazing movements. You want to talk an under the radar great watch, a Zenith. And by the way, dude, so many. That's a beautiful fucking watch.
It's incredible.
Old Zeniths are reasonable and they're great.
Yeah, what's it called? Like the El Matador or whatever, the Matador or whatever.
El Primero.
El Primero, yeah.
The El Primero. Those are a little expensive, but like you can find a Zenith dress watch. They have a little tiny star on the dial. No. They're fucking cool as shit, man. You know what else is if you want a watch that you're not going to see on anyone, great movement, inexpensive, Sinn, S-I-N-N, German company. They make rad tool watches, black ceramic watches. They're durable as shit. They're real popular with like military dudes and like that kind of like people that work in like professional security and shit.
Yep.
Like Black Ops, like that kind of stuff. They're rad watches and they're not super expensive. And Nomos too. Nomos I love.
So let's get into it. What's your favorite watch of the show this year?
Dude, Sky Dweller killed it.
Absolutely.
Sky Dweller. Although, dude, some of those Tudors.
I know.
I mean,
know.
especially when you look at the cost.
I know. Well, yeah, the Tudor two-tone to me is just fucking epic.
I want a blue dial Black Bay. I want the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, even the ETA movement, because I like the original bracelet, and I think the first one still had the flower logo. I like the flower logo.
Yeah, that with the ETA movement has the flower.
I like the flower logo.
I still want the Black Bay from last year of just the
black one?
gilt dial.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear me, Russell, right?
But no, I what Tudor's doing right now is incredible.
They killed it.
So
man.
I mean, any one of those new Black Bay, that chronograph though is rad.
God, it's so good.
Yeah.
But the two-tone one with the gilt dial and the gold fucking the winder is just insane.
Damn, this miniature sickly wrist.
God.
The chronograph's like a little too big for me. But like that dial's so rad looking.
It's insane.
Yeah, so those two, I think those releases are the best. The Sky Dweller and the two-tone Black Bay and the chronograph. That steel only Black Bay.
Oh, that's sick. With the steel bezel?
Steel bezel.
That thing's sick.
Because you wear that and no one thinks like you're trying to just get an inexpensive watch that looks like a sub. That's like a separate thing.
Oh, that thing looks like it's just ready for battle.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's great. It reminds you just vaguely of the 1655 Explorer 2.
I love it.
Because I love a steel bezel.
Yeah, you're right.
Steel bezels are rad.
Yeah, they are bad.
That's why I don't understand why people don't buy 90s Explorer white dial Explorer 2s.
We've been saying that forever. You can get them for $3,000.
The best value.
It's incredible.
If you want a sport Rolex, you can find one for $3,500.
And it's unbelievable, and no one's wearing it.
It's almost the same movement as GMT.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in and have a great weekend. Don't forget to come see Kevin and I. We're going to be at the Ontario Improv Easter weekend, and then we're going to be at Denver Comedy Works April 26th through the 30th, so that's going to be fantastic. Also, I got a brand new show in April 19th. I will be headlining San Jose Improv. Please get your tickets right away. A one-night show only. And tomorrow night, I will be at the Fox Theater in Oakland with Mr. Mark Maron, my good friend. I love him. Can't wait to see him. Haven't seen him in months. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe and leave a review on the podcast. And, one last thing. The brand new t-shirt is up on Instagram. Like I said, it is only pre-order. Email me, DeanDelray@yahoo.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Candles lit.